Bungie recently showcased the new activity coming with Into the Light called Onslaught. It's a wave-based defense activity where you can purchase various deployables to aid in the protection of this generator-looking thing. It looks like it'll play unlike other activities we've had, as the enemies will be coming to us rather than us chasing down the enemies. As such, I think we could see some new strategies arise that offer a more defensive playstyle, and today I'd like to discuss some exotics and builds that I'm excited to try out once we finally do get our hands on Onslaught. I'm going to cover 9 builds that I think will completely dominate Onslaught. There will be other loadouts that work. These 9 aren't the end-all be-all, but I wanted to point out a few setups that I'm looking forward to trying. 3 for each class, of course. First up, for my fellow Titans out there, we've got Doomfang. Doomfang are amazing, and I don't see enough people using them out there, so now's my chance to spread some Doomfang love. These Void Titan gloves have a number of functionalities, the first of which being to give a quarter, sometimes more, of your super just for scoring a Void melee ability kill. Second, while in Sentinel Shield or Captain America mode, getting a shield throw hit extends your super. Finally, these gloves will give ramping Void weapon damage up to a ×4 surge, boosting you straight to ×4 with a Void melee ability kill. Seriously, these gloves are gnarly. When you get everything going, you'll have a crazy amount of weapon damage, and you'll just have super after super after super, supers that last minutes at a time. If these sound good, it's because they are. The Sentinel Shield is a very good super for clearing adds and champions alike. Pair this with volatile healing and you will be a force to be reckoned with. Next up, for massive explosions to wipe out groups of enemies, look no further than Severance Enclosure. Now, Severance Enclosure is nice because it works with any subclass, so all you need to do is figure out which melee ability you want to use. I have a couple of recommendations to look out for though. Baby Hammer is the first, and I believe the most obvious choice. Solar Titan overall is just very strong, lots of healing through sunspots, and ramping ability damage through Roaring Flames. Other things to look out for would be on Strand, where my personal preference is Flechette Storm. Flechette Storm would give you a strong and safe ranged melee option, but the classic Banner of War Into the Fray setup would work great as well. Finally, for the Titans, might I suggest Ambient Leap. This Strand exotic will give you a huge boost to the effectiveness of your Barricade Suspend, and will give you Woven Mail every time you suspend something. This is probably one of the best setups for Titan, and being able to suspend enemies to stop them in their tracks will not only make them easier targets, but will give you and your team more time to eliminate them before they reach the generator. This has been my go-to Titan build for Grandmasters ever since Strand came out, and I think with Onslaught it'll be even better. Alright, you floaty Warlocks, you're up next. And I'm not going to waste anyone's time here. I think this next loadout might be just the best in the game for Onslaught. Only time will tell, obviously, but on paper I believe the Warlock Stasis turret build will be the best build for Onslaught. Grab yourself a pair of Osmiomancy gloves, some Bleak Watchers, and some Ice Flare bolts, and toss those turrets. This is one of my favorite builds in the game. The double ice turrets are so much fun, and it's so good for crowd control. There is a little dance you have to get used to, as sometimes you'll want to throw a standard cold snap to get your grenade energy back with Osmiomancy, but once you get the hang of the flow, this build is nearly unstoppable. The only thing this build lacks is survivability, but Warlocks have built-in survivability with their rifts, meaning this build has essentially no downsides. I'll stop gushing about this build, but seriously, if you haven't tried this loadout, you need to. It is so good. In a very similar vein, the Briarbind's Void Warlock is also very invaluable to the team. These gloves allow you to pick up and redeploy your Void Souls, allowing their timers to be refreshed as well as making them tankier and stronger. These gloves are crazy fun and give a fantastic uptime on abilities and the weekend debuff. Void is already a very good subclass with lots of utility and ways to gain survivability and damage, and the Briarbinds just take it to the next level. Void Souls are good on their own, but Briarbinds makes them so much better. Simply being able to move them around elevates their usage, but making them deal more damage and take less, and being able to have multiple out at the same time, yeah, these gloves are just awesome. Finally, my Warlockians, I recommend Vesper of Radius. You can use these on any subclass, but they have additional functionality on Arc, so I recommend Arc. Arc Soul's Electrostatic Mind and Vesper is a brutal combination. I do recommend a glaive with this setup since you'll be pretty close to enemies and the shield from the glaive is a lifesaver. Get this build going and your enemies will be blinded, jolted, and will turn into traces on death. Vesper gives a great deal of crowd control at the cost of range, but play smart and the reward for such a risky playstyle is immense. Now, I didn't forget about you jumpy hunters out there. For you guys, look no further than Renewal Grasps. These exotic stasis gloves will net you a bigger globe grenade that boosts your defense while in it, and also reduces the damage dealt by enemies in it. Even only one of those functionalities would make these gloves rock, but you don't have to choose. Throw it at enemies to create a nice freezing effect and a choke point, or throw it at you and your team to provide some helpful damage resist. Very quickly you can see the power of these Stasis Hunter gloves. Next up for you hunters is Lucky Raspberry, an unfortunately hideous exotic that boosts the effectiveness of arc bolt grenades, and also gives a bonus to grenade energy on trace pickup and jolt damage. This is a really strong exotic and works well both against weak and stronger enemies. It gives a huge boost to grenade uptime, allowing you to keep the jolt going. Last but certainly not least, we have Young Ahamkara's Spine. This exotic will enhance your tripmine grenades, making them hit a larger area, as well as doing just a bit more damage. Oh, and they also remove self-damage, so you can run free knowing your trip mines won't cause any unfortunate deaths. These did get nerfed a while back to give grenade energy only on ability kills rather than ability hits, which does change a bit of its effectiveness, but on top of all the other benefits these gloves can provide, and the solar subclass being in general very strong, these are still a very powerful option and are certainly worth using. The trip mines will be great for locking down sections of the map and can help with enemies that are trying to sneak by towards the generator. As a few bonus honorable mentions, for Titans we have the Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap. I've made a video on this build before and it's a blast, but will be even better in Onslaught because of the defensive nature of the Rally Barricade. I'll link that build in the description. I'll also link my Mothman Hunter build as well. This one focuses on having as many self-contained minions as possible, with clones, threadlings, tangles, the whole lot. And I won't leave you warlocks out either. You all should try Necrotic Grip, a simple, free source of damage that can work with any class, though I would recommend trying it on Strand or Solar. Finally, for all my fellow Guardians out there, lest we forget about the Aeon Cult. These gloves are for every class and has a special mod slot that we can use to pick one of 3 perks. These are all strong, and I'm not going to go into specifically what they do, but having one of each on your team would give various benefits that could really help for survivability, ability uptime, and can generate ammo. Just great stuff all around. Now, I'm not going to sit here and play it off like you should use any of these builds for any difficulty. No, I probably won't use the Titan's Severance Enclosure when it comes to hard mode and waves. Bungie in their live stream said that hard mode in the later waves gets up to Grandmaster level. For that, I would take Ambient Leap though. You won't see me using Vesper on the Warlock, but I will use the Osmiomancy turrets. And on the Hunter, I probably won't use Ahamkara's Spine, but I would use Renewal Grasps. But for normal mode, I'm pumped to try them all. I tried to put a little something for everyone here. Things that are good, but most importantly, things that are fun. This isn't the end-all list for builds in Onslaught. I mean, we don't even have the activity yet, and I'm sure there'll be certain weapons and strategies that will be quote-unquote the best. I'm just a dude who plays the game, and these were the builds and exotics that I was thinking about when I was watching the stream. But enough about me. What builds and equipment are you going to be using on April 8th? Let me know in the comments, and until next time.